Let's start. So
Yes.
today we are going to again understanding one of the, you can say, relationship between these classes, between the resources, between the model, right? Till now we have to only develop the one endpoint like users, okay, user, and in user have a like user id, user name, user email, right? And we are able to successfully uh, insert record uh, via the post uh, endpoints, post API, and successfully store in our database MySQL, right? Here.
Right.
Yeah. And similarly, maybe update request, or delete request, or get request, get by ID, get by all. So all the successfully our microservice are receive the user request and process them, and if as per the needed, they are talk to the database as well as database MySQL. Okay, so it's good. Now let's go, instead of now we are going to add one more database table. Not now, this is the concept of your address. So might be address have a your address ID, address maybe city, maybe country name, and lots of detail we can put as a address, right? So one approach would be like discuss why not more columns we created here, right? Maybe here city, here maybe country name, here maybe geographer, whatever the address field can be. So this is one option. We can add more column in the existing database, right?
Right.
So these are the one way. But other way might be some users are sharing the same address, right? So in this case, your address record is going to duplicate, right? The same times. Okay. So the good approach, no, don't add this address detail here. If someone, why not put the address detail in address table, right? This address can be used by the different user. Maybe this user one, user two, user three, right? So this is the
Right.
approach we are going to develop. Hey, we are going to first develop maybe one employee. This is our employee, and one more table. This is our address table, right? And our applications receive the request, and employee information is stored in the employee table, and address information is stored in the address table, right? Not in the same table. So that means this one tables are making some relationship between another table, right? So here our employee table, our user table, and here your address table, right? And maybe let's see, you're going to the one employee at least need a one address, or maybe here a relationship between the database or Java model can be one to one relationship, right? Or one to many relationship, or one to maybe many to many relationship. These are the kind of relationship we are going to study further classes.
Right.
That means my case maybe uh, each person have a sometime only one relationship, means ki one object have one relationship, sometime maybe one object have a many relationship. Let's think, instead of like I have let's see, I'm author. The one author can write multiple books, right? The one is the author detail, one is the author detail, and one is the book detail. The one author can write one book, two book, three book, 10 book, right? In this case,
Right.
one author and books have a one to many relationship. Similarly, sometime our application required many to many relations, right? So these are the further classes we are going to understand these basic relationship between the database table, or same whatever we're going to understand database table, similarly we are going to understand the Java model. In Java model, how to make a relationship, we already know, like a inheritance relationship, we already know the composition relationship, is a relationship, has a relationship. So whatever in the core Java we have know about this relationship. Same we are going to here use, right?
Right.
Great. So let's start with the basic. Uh, any till now question objective what we are going to do is Spring Initializer. The
Right.
basic application. Let's start with the fresh. And here today we are going to understand one more thing. In the last example, notice whenever we are writing our user table, right? This is a user table. So here we have to write this all the get method, all the set method, your
Right.
toString method. So these things also we can say, hey, our framework, can you generate for me? I don't want to write this code, right?
Right.
So for this purpose, excuse me, we are going to use the another library, another Java library, which help us. Even this is a sufficient information for me, but I don't want to write the default argument constructor, getter method, setter method, and if this is a very small three entity, right? It's very fine. But let's see in our business requirement, I have a 10 attribute, right? Want to manage
Right.
in a real times. So we have to lots of getter setter method. Why not application do for me itself? Because this is a very standard thing. If my IntelliJ do, why my framework cannot do, right? Because I'm not
Right.
writing this code. I just say IntelliJ, can you generate and setter and get, right? So this is a
Right.
fixed code. Fixed code can be generated by any framework, right? So we are going to use one of the library for that. This library known as a Lombok. Lombok help us to generate this getter method, setter method, toString method, everything, right? Just we
Yeah.
give the annotation so that our code becomes so concise and small, right? So let's first give the uh, Java project, Maven project, and, and here we can use all of these example, your package name, and here just today we are going to understand focus one-to-one relationship, right? So one-to-one mapping. Just give me one-to-one mapping, right? Same application, huh? One-to-one mapping. Okay,
Right.
it's good and sufficient. Java 21, all are the good. Add dependency. You want to going to use this web application so that we can build the
Yeah.
RESTful API, and we need a database. So need a JPA, Java Persistent API, right? To
Yeah.
communicating to the database. Okay. And third, we need a MySQL. You are using a
MySQL.
MySQL driver. We are using MySQL driver, and you are using the Lombok. This is the just the Java annotation to help us to fix code. We can reduce. And Java annotation library which help us to reduce boilerplate code. Boilerplate code means that code easily generated by your ID, right?
Right.
So instead of generating, why let's library it internally do for it, right? So let's
Right.
explore this, right? This is just developer tool. This not help any business value. Just uh, this API, this library help us to develop our time, right?
Right.
Let's use it. So lots of slowly we are going to use more and more library, right? So now it's sufficient for it, right? And let's generate
Right.
the project and generate this project. Okay, and this okay. Just open in this. Just first to extract them, and even that is extracting done, and you can just go inside a folder, and it's start the development. Just open this, right? You want to copy and place different places, you can do, right?
Yeah.
And just trust this project. IntelliJ just ask this is the opening project, is a trust or not? It will take little bit times to download all the library. So So whenever we are going to starting new fresh application, we have to use this basic MySQL configuration, right? These are the things, right?
Right.
So let's do the same thing. So I just uploaded in the conference. Instead of you can search from the Spring website, or you can get it from the my website. Okay. So let's here already.
Oh, so you're creating a new database.
Yes, or you can use the same, or you can create new. Okay, not an issue.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it new. No problem.
So that just understanding purpose, right?
Yeah.
Now it's okay, done. And whenever you start, look this your PALM dependency, what the dependency we have added. So here we have added as usual. We are Spring Data JPA, we are using Spring Debris for REST endpoint, and SQL, MySQL, your connector, okay. And after that, you this is the one additional project Lombok, okay. Lombok for a just sector getter method, right? All our dependency my okay. And let's now next we have to using MySQL. So we have to need this configuration application property, and in this application property, just I am going to use my this application property, right?
Right.
Here you have to just use them, right? And here if you want to same username or database, different database you want, different database you can create whatever you want. So you want to use the same database, or you can different
Right.
create.
Create a new one.
Let's give the name new the. So we have to give the name like
We need to run the command first on SQL.
first we have to open the MySQL, and first we have to log in my MySQL, and after that we have to decide the name. Here let's go to the uh, your database name, mapping,
Mapping. Yeah.
mappings, okay. Mappings. Database name is mapping. Username is okay. Test user, all are okay, right?
Right.
So let's create database. How, to create database, we know the syntax. This is the data create and database, and give the name, right?
Right.
Database, and this is the mapping tables we are going to create. Okay, mappings. So here we are just going to demonstrate mapping part. Database created, and in this database we have to give the privileges, right? So we have already this already test user. So I am just giving, hey, this is my privileges, grant all privileges. I'm not going to create a new user. Username is the same, right?
Okay. 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 I see. I see. Yeah. Yeah.
So here say, hey, this is the my same privilege. I'm not going to create the new user. If you want to create new user, you can create the new user, right?
Right.
So now just say, hey, you know, this is the copy and paste. Okay. So I am given here test user. You have a privilege that of the mapping database as well, right? So
Right.
now it's done. And our basic configuration is done. This is the basic configuration. Mapping database, test user, driver name. This is everything. And one thing I think we have to check here, MySQL connector, MySQL, it's uh, let me run if it's working, or why it is it with some name version here. Let me check the let MySQL connector. Okay, yeah, this is
Right.
the what the version. So you can just say MVN MySQL J connector. This is the MySQL connector. What are the latest one? This is the MySQL connector. This is the latest 8 we have version. This is the version. Just copy paste, right?
Right.
And just replace with this latest, okay? Because you are driver, maybe driver someone new Java version come now. It is the MySQL connector for Java 803 version, right? This is the basic configuration we have to follow, right? Many times,
Right.
but this is the standard we have to know. So this is the dependency my ready, and my configuration is ready. Okay, and let's just start the application, starting application or not, right? We have to check my application all is okay, properly started, database communication happen or not, right?
Right.
If no error, that means successfully our application is started, that means we are good.
Right.
No, here I have some problem application. What say? They are not happy. What saying?
Mapping. Test.
Access deny. Okay, you have to access deny for user test user to database mapping. I have executed this
Maybe if we put only the word test user, that should be okay.
test
No.
user, but I'm
Like
test user mapping.
no,
Why?
but you have ampersand and push percentage sign.
Yeah, no, I already given all things. Okay. Okay. What is the command I run? Uh, Create test user identify. Let's me. I already run this DB. Oh, here we have to change this database name. Okay, right? This command
Yeah.
permission I miss. Okay, you have to run here, and here database name you have to change, right?
Yeah.
Your
Mapping.
mapping. Yeah, you are good. Mappings. Okay. So here I'm saying, hey, this is the database. This user have given the permission. Okay, now it's okay. And again, let's start. So whenever you doing something, you have to just check this prerequisite, right? Now at least we are clear. Okay, now our test user don't have a permission to read and write the mapping database.
Right.
So in future, whenever you are changing the database, please ensure database change. If same user, you have to change here our database name, right? Here a username, it is the database name. Okay, so this is the MySQL done. I hope it should works. At this time, one-to-one mapping application it starts good. At least we cover the basic things, right?
Data.
Great. Let's stop. So as usual, let's. I'm not going to uh, just here purpose. We are going to just create a two model. One is the address and one is the user, right? So let's class class. Uh, let's employee, okay, or anything employee, okay.
So we're gonna create two class for this
We're going to
project.
two class, two database, two class, okay. One is the let's one is the your user or customer, you can say. Let's in this, okay, customer, okay. Customer instead of user, okay, user, okay. This is the one class and one more class for a address, right?
Right.
Address. So you have two created classes, okay. This is simple Java rule. Till now there is no. And here let's we have a like private long id. This table I want to id, and here whenever say this till now this is the Java model. I say, hey, Spring Framework, please create the table for me. So just you say, hey, add it entity. This annotation hint to our Spring Framework. Now user want this is the new database table. Okay. Similarly, if you say, hey, here add that entity, that means entity. That means ki now our application know ki, hey, this is the we have to create database table as well as, right?
Right.
So let's hear your private string username and private email, right?
Right.
Email. Okay. And in address, what we can say similarly, like address have some address ID, right? Private long ID field and private string. Let's what city name, okay? City name and private. Let's state. Okay, what are the state? Okay, our country, even anything you can, and the number of fields you can add whatever number you want, right?
Right.
So till now, and I say, ki, hey, this is the table. Then either some ID field, primary key. So here say, hey, this is the ID field, ID annotation, and this ID system automatic generate, right? So say, hey, generated.
Right.
Okay, so generated value. So same, and now here we know ki any user this name cannot be blank, right? So we know you is the column,
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
column, and say, hey,
Column.
column
Nullifying,
nullable,
nullable.
yeah,
Nullable
nullable,
equal to false.
false. This cannot be null. Okay. Similarly,
Yeah.
my these two field cannot be null, right? User must have a type this data, right? This good. So this is the one, and now I need the getter setter method, right? So here we can say I'm going to use the today, uh, not going to say IntelliJ, hey IntelliJ generate for a getter setter. I am using this Lombok. I say I need a getter. So notice this is a Lombok API, right? Due to that, we have added the jar, right? This annotation create all the getter for this. I want to setter, so I say, hey, setter. Those notice this is Lombok setter. So these two annotation help us to generate my setter and getter.
Oh, okay,
That's done.
okay.
And you want to two string? So yes, you say, hey, at the rate two string. This generate two string for you. It's good. So now,
It's because of the framework Lombok.
yeah, because the framework Lombok. Lombok is a library which can help us. Okay,
Right.
but you can do manually. You can do manually write the code or from IntelliJ, but you can. But in this way, our code become a concise and small, right? Very
Right.
important thing for me. This is the field, not the setter, getter, method, constructor, two string, right?
Right. Right.
It's so now this is the one my model done, right?
Right.
Similarly, let's for our address. Address also I need one ID, and I want like a generated value done, and also city and country cannot be blank, right? Column, and here say uh, nullable true, and similarly here this cannot be nullable, and here just same I can you can use this, right? Here one thing I want whenever I'm going to create user, I don't want email can be duplicate, right? Same user are it cannot be unique. Maybe same name I cannot create two times, right?
Right.
Sometime you want to only maybe I created one user Ajay. Same time again next user Ajay. It's not make sense, right? The sometime you want to ensure that only one name user or email can be created, right? Cannot duplicate allow, right?
Right.
So
Right.
here we have noticed, I'm just looking here one more option. Here notice comma. Here we have unique parameter. Unique means true. That means say, hey, this column is the unique. We cannot say ki name is the more than one. If needed, we can do, but you can also ki name can be same, but email can different. So here we can also explore this option, right?
Right.
So in this way, you can ensure that the same record cannot create a duplicate. So all the feature, lots of feature they have, but slowly you can, as per your need and use, you can apply them, right?
Right.
It's clear. Today, let's same for email cannot be unique. Similarly, here city and email, whatever things some uniqueness you required or don't require, don't do. Whatever you want, right?
Right.
So here we have used one more annotation like column have in this column have lots of constraint. You can say these are the constraints. Mean these are the check. Whenever your Spring Data JPA going to save data, they are reading this constraint. You say unique, they not allow to duplicate value. This is not nullable. This you cannot put the null value, right?
Right.
So it's now notice two uh, independent. Till now notice here I have a one user mo model and one is the address model, right? Address model. But notice there is no relationship. This this model is not related to the anyhow this model, right? So how we can tell Spring framework, hey, this user have some address, right? How we can say? Here we have to use the composition relationship, right? So
Right.
here I am going to say, hey user have one relation. What? Have one address field, right? So how can say
Okay.
this is the
Okay. Mhm.
user, you have a id, it's good, you have your name, it's good, you have your email. Similarly you have one more field, that is your address, right?
Right.
Here I am going to say, hey, now you have one more address, private address field, address, right? Address. So now here we are making relationship. User object have a relationship with the address model. This is not a string. This is not integer. This is not a float. This is a different table, different model, right? Java model.
Different table. Right. Right.
So notice this is the relationship between your already we understand this is the your user Java model class. This is your address Java class, both previously independent. But now here we make a composition relationship. That means has a relationship. Here I can say, hey user, you have a one address as well, right?
Right.
So in this way, you can say these user tables are linked with the address table due to this line. Notice, right? If you are
Hmm.
not putting this line, both tables are both Java model independent. There is no relationship.
Oh, so that makes it relationship.
This is the maker relationship. So I'm
Has
highlighting
it?
here.
It's a has
Now,
it.
yeah, now say, hey user, you have a relation. How can, as we know, but how our Java code know? Java code say, okay, I am going to add one more field to you. This is the address field to you, right? So now
Right.
you know, okay, I have address. So this line,
Right.
so in
Hmm.
the Java world, relationship. Which relationship? Composition. Already we have a cover or watch the video, right? This is the composition. We have a two kind of relationship. I understand. EJ relationship and HAJ relationship, right? EJ
Right.
means inheritance, HAJ means composition. This is the user HAJ address means user composition, HAJ relationship, right?
Right.
Already we cover. Look the video if you not remember, right? So please note, if you are not writing this line, this means your user Java model and database address model are not related to each other. But whenever you add this line number 37, it's become a relationship. So this is the today our objective. We are going to understand this relationship. In the database word, you can say one mapping. In the database terminology, you can say this is the user and table, this is the address table. We are going to make a relationship one to one, means ki one user have a one address as well as, right? So this is known as one to one mapping. So one to one mapping, you can say a one to one relationship, both terminology you can use, right? But one to one here just logically from the code perspective, from the actual, there is not writing any one to one, just concept. This is the concept one to one relationship, right?
Right.
One to one is not any like physically exist. Just this is the we visualize one concept ki one user have just only one address at a time. So how say ki this is the one user have one ID and one email address as well. Sorry, one address object as well, right? So this is the object, and this is the object. Due to that, we are saying, hey, two objects are now with a relationship. Which kind of relationship? Has a relationship. It's clear. This is the basic of our today class objective. It's clear.
Right. Yes.
And let's, but how our JPA know ki we are going to insert this table in the this whatever address information. Whenever I'm giving the from the postman or swagger or whatever I'm giving these informations, how our JPA know, hey, I need to store address information in this address table. How no? Here we have to saying what relationship name 1 to 1. Notice
Okay, okay. Mm.
now in this way our JPA, our which they are going to talk to database. Whenever I am going to save user information, user ID, user name, user email, they are going to save in a user table. But this address detail, like city name and country name, this mapping tell Spring Framework go these information is stored in a different table, right? I don't want city and country name stored in this user table, right?
Right,
So this annotation 1 to 1 tell JPA, hey JPA, now your responsibility. Can you my city name and my country name put in a separate table? Might be the same city and same address. Country can each by the different person, right? It's
right.
good.
Yeah.
So this is the annotation you are going to use. Question is that again sometime asked, what happened if on the user table you are maybe creating record, inserting, sometime you are updating, sometime you are deleting, right? So these operation, what for this ID, for name, for email, I'm okay. But what this address? If you are deleting one user, can I delete the address table in from different table as well or not? So sometime Spring Framework need multiple operation to you. Say I say ki whenever you are going to create user, you also go to create one more entry in the address table. One is the your user table, these two information, and this city and this information in the address table, right? So here we say ki 1 to 1 mapping, it's okay. But which, because in the case we are going to maybe multiple operation, update, delete, save. So all
Right,
operations you are going to do here in this table as well as you can yes or no, you have option. So here we have to give one options here. So notice here lots of option we have. So this is option is a cascade operation, and here you can say ki what kind of operation you want to do. You want to all operation or just merge, persist means save. What operation you want to say? I as of now testing purpose I say all. Whatever I am going to do in the user table, same you can do in the address table, right? Is it clear?
yeah.
So these are the things. The main okay. What a main objective of today to learning these two words: 1 to 1 mapping and all the operations which are going to apply on this address table similarly go on the cascaded in the address table as well as, right? So cascade means same operation, update, delete, remove, all operation whatever you're going to do on the address table, same Spring JPA perform on the sorry, whatever doing on a user table, same you can do on my address table. Is it good?
Yeah.
So these are basic configuration about the
Can you explain the cascade again? Cascade.
cascade means I'm going to create one user right here, user, and I
Right,
pass your username, email ID, and city and country name, right? So
yeah.
whenever this information I'm going to just save, you just save. So our JPA, these two informations are they are going to the store in this user table, right? User
Right,
table. What about this city name and country name? They are going to must in the different table,
right.
different
Yeah.
table. So here Cascade means if I'm going to insert in this table, same time you can go insert here as well as. Cascade means which operations you are doing: add, update, delete, remove, save. All the operation you can perform a child table as well. You can say this is a parent table or this is a child table as well as, right?
Okay.
Look like that. So if you are going to insert new record here, you also insert here, right?
So when you said cascade type dot all, what operation it means? Is it deleting or adding?
Add all means insert, update, remove, purge means all
Oh,
operations.
all.
So here we have a only specific. You want to only give no, not all. I want to only the merge. Merge means yeah, only persist, save, or refresh, or remove. These are the options you have, right? So I am say just
Okay,
testing purpose. Just let's by default all, right? You can use
okay,
only
okay.
the merge or only the persist, right? In the case
Right,
of persist, you can do. So depend on the different use case, you can just change and test the behavior, right? What this
right,
work,
right.
what this work, right?
Yes,
So as of now, we have designs our Java model and corresponding database model. Till now, I'm not doing anything, right?
right,
Till now, just we discuss. There are two words. One is the your Java word, that means a JPA word, right?
right,
One word, the database, actually where we are going to store data, right?
right,
Here you are deciding, hey, Java two object, user object, and address object, right?
right,
And what the same thing you want to replicate in the database side? Because database I'm not going to write any query and something. So all the things we just tell JPA from this annotation. Hey, this is the not null column, this is the table column, and this is the one-to-one mapping column. This annotation just for JPA. JPA know what user want to perform on this database side, because we as a Java programmer are not directly interact to the database query, right? We are just
right,
working on the Java side, right? Because we are Java developer. So from
right,
Java side, we are just giving the hint to our JPA, Spring Data JPA. Hey Spring, you do for me. It's clear.
right.
So now let's just develop some endpoint and test this. It's clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Let's so whenever first things you can define Java model, then you have to define the JPA means repository. So
Right,
let's
right.
say class an interface. Hमेशा
Inter
repository interface
yeah,
interface
we can interface
repo.
user repository
Repository now
ex
extend JPA.
extend JPA repository
Here say this is my
user
user comma
table.
long. Okay,
Well,
okay. And similarly, you can create one more repository for your address, right? Same.
oh, we need one for address.
Uh, because address table, are you want to store information? Just change this address, right?
Okay, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I
Now two
understand.
repository we have, okay, and whenever our application needed, they can figure out, okay.
Right.
Till now, this is done. This is done. Now let's develop our controller. Let's user
Now,
controller.
this example is more complex in nature for REST API.
Just we are going to introduce one more field, right? One table.
Or yeah.
Till now, we have just before we are discussing only one thing, right? Now
Right.
we are going to the relationship. And in real life, relationship always come with the lots of roles and responsibility and troubleness in your real life, right? When you
Right.
are single, there is no problem, right?
Right.
Whenever you are associated to the anyone, you have need a lots of responsibility. Similarly,
Right.
here now previously, whatever example you did, just one table. There is very nice, very cute, right? Now,
Right.
whenever you introduce another table and relationship as well as this is
Right.
because something complex, right?
Right.
But not a complex. Very simple, just as to use, right? Let's cover the just our REST controller, right? To test it, whatever you did until you're not testing how to do, no, it's working or not, right? So let's just tell test REST controller. Okay, REST controller. I am going to say class user controller. Okay, controller. Okay, and here I say we need a user. Let's find out. Just create a get mapping. Get first. We have to get data, right? Get
Right.
map. Get mapping, and here's the get mapping slash users. Okay, users, and here's a public get means ki all means a list of user. I want to all. Okay, what say import. Let's them import. Okay, here say return, and we did a user repository, right?
Right.
So say hey private uh, final user repository repo, and just create hey uh, cons- constructor. Okay, and notice here uh, maybe I am not talk about whenever I am creating here. Notice this is the user interface. Notice this is the user interface, and in
Right.
this case you cannot create object equal to new. We need
Right.
implementation class. So notice here in Spring Framework doing intelligence. Whenever you say now constructor initialize them here. Okay. So what
Oh, okay. Okay. Right.
until you are not doing now, if you are not writing this code and you say hey repository dot find all. Okay. If you not writing this code, okay, your class become a compiler error. This is the null till now not initialized, right?
Right.
So this concept known as a injection means ki whatever the implementation class of this, who going to provide the implementation class? Our JPA provide.
Right. Right.
Our
Okay.
JPA give the implementation class of this interface. Whatever you interface just define, right? So whenever you say, hey JPA, I'm just giving whenever this user controller object going to create. At the same time, you can initialize my interface object as well as. So
Okay.
this is
Okay.
what
So
I say. Uh-huh.
JPA controller would initialize the
Our Spring
class.
framework, yes.
Yeah.
Until whenever I'm not writing this. Okay, I'm not writing this. At that time, how I find this JPA object? Because my JPA is the interface. Interface I cannot create like in this way. New user interface, right?
Right. Right.
You
Yeah.
cannot create
Because it's
user
interface.
repo, repo. You cannot create because interface object you cannot create. The question how we can call this repo.all method. So here I am using the Spring framework. And hey, Spring framework say, hey, you can initialize in the constructor. Whenever we are going to create, whenever you are going to create the object of my this class, ins- alt insert, okay. Okay, whenever you are going to create the constructor, at that time you can initialize. So now our Spring framework here play a role. They are going to provide the default implementation of this JPA repository because they know okay, this is the sub interface of JPA repository. So Spring know कि I can know how to give the implementation of your JPA repository. So
Can we do this? Can
this
we?
concept as known as a object injection, and in Spring it is known as a auto wiring. So this thing you can do a two-way. This is the one way constructor initialization means ki your object is going to initialize from the constructor, and
Oh, from the
this
constructor.
concept
Okay.
in
Mhm.
Spring known as a auto wiring.
Auto wiring. Okay. Okay.
This way, or you can say comment here, and you can say here construction auto wire. both work.
Oh, okay, okay. I see, I see. Yeah,
But
yeah.
this I'm not explain. Later part we can explain because we easily know the constructor part, right? So
Right,
prefer
right.
the way you can always use the constructor, right? But both are
Okay.
someone say
Can
uh,
we can
auto
we write this? Can we do user repo and space repo equal to new uh,
you cannot
JPA?
you can key instruct the constructor we cannot initialize the object.
Right, right.
It's the interface need a class to make a new, right? So due to
Mm,
that we have a two option. One is the auto wiring or another we have a this is the constructor.
right, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah. All right.
So just for heads up, this required you whenever you are writing this. So here
Right.
role play by your Spring framework to creating object of this interface. Okay,
Mm.
let's move to the our next part. Now it's a get mapping done, and let's just create the one post mapping. Create the record, right?
Yeah, that's the that way we can see some
Post
yeah,
mapping,
get mapping returning user.
right?
Yeah.
Until you are not putting data, how can get data, right?
How can we get data? Yeah, yeah.
So here just say public user, and here say create, and here
Create user.
need a create user object.
Yeah.
User object user. Okay, and here say hey return a repo dot save. Okay, and save our user.
Right.
Okay, so here user you have to inform hey Spring, can you receive this user object from the request body, right?
Right.
So now your API is ready for test, right? First you have
Right.
to create user and we have to get. And notice in the save method, I say ki when I'm going to save user object, they are going to save. And user object, we have to say they need a what need a name, email, and as well as address we can pass you, right?
Right.
So
Right.
we have to
Right.
pass
Right.
in address. We know address have a
Yes.
this is the auto generated, and here city and country. Two name we have to pass more, right?
Right. Right. It's a relationship and, that
Relationship.
will
So basic
we can,
operation is done. Let's test, right?
right.
And let's start.
So we do it on postman.
Postman one option, and sometime let me you give me the good option. Today we can explore one more option. Nowadays you can use the Swagger. Maybe you have a remembered Swagger is the one way also to test our API, and that's our really very nice documentation for the REST endpoint. So notice here, let's observe the output first of the whenever our server start, notice here they create the table address. Notice
Mm-hmm.
they create the address table where the city and country name, and similarly they create the user table. And notice in user table they have a ID field, they have an email, they have a name, and notice they have a address ID as well as.
Right.
So in this, due to why this they created, because in this address user table, I say this is the address. So they are not going to say here complete address object say one to one mapping means just make a ID of here and details of address going to the address table, right? So this is the
Mm.
new things in this your table database come. Okay, sorry. Okay. So it's clear now your address table created, user table created, and all are the primary key, foreign key index, all are the database concept already they created.
Right.
Lots of things doing. Notice also notice here they are creating indexes because unique key city, unique key country, unique key email, unique key name, unique key address ID. Notice the by
Right.
default I say hey this is the unique key right here.
Right.
So whenever you say unique internally, JPA enforce some constraint on the database side.
Right.
Good thing. And I'm saying ki for testing, you can test from the Swagger or Postman. So let's look. Already we know how to test Postman, right? So
Right.
I have just remembered this is the one good option. Again, we have to take the help of Google. Uh, Spring Spring documentation. That means ki now as a customer, how know what is the my application URL, right?
Right.
How if I using a Postman, I need a URL. If I go the code and check, hey, this is the URL my application here like a slash users, right? How
Right.
user know your URL is users employee what? So for that, Swagger is the one of the good implementation nowadays. Generally application using. So for that, we use the Spring documentation and go to the Spring documentation and open API. This is the one of the concept. They say ki all the REST API, whatever you're using, we can use from the browser itself. You can say don't need any third party, right? So
Right.
these are the Spring applications, Spring documentation supported, and they say whatever your application you are doing, you want to just getting a start. This is for integration between the Spring Boot and a Swagger UI. Swagger UI. Add the library in the list of your project, and no additional configuration required. So they say if you can add this dependency your code, and now you don't need any other. Now your application support Swagger UI means REST documentation.
Right. Right.
Whatever
Okay.
the endpoint exposed, they need some documentation with third party customer. How customer know ki which endpoint I have to call, right?
Right.
So let's them I am copy this. I am going to I am copying it, yes. And where I am going to add dependency in our POM application, right? POM.xml.
Right.
Two applications and stop them. And this is the my uh, POM. This is my POM, right? Here I am going to add one more dependency like a here swag string dot open API, right? So now only I am adding this one dependency in the our POM file, right? And let's start them, right? Let me server is started. It should be hopefully not give any kind of a problem. That's started. Great. And one thing, what is this close? So here say ki whenever your application is started, notice this will automatically deploy the Swagger UI and in to your Spring Boot application. That means whenever my Spring Boot application is started, at that times our Swagger UI also started. So how to Swagger UI page will be available at this URL. At this URL, your Swagger page available. Means go to the here, just copy this URL and paste from here, right? So
Right.
here is your server my local host, right? So here say local host, right? Your port number, how to know your port number? You will check your server is started at the port 808, right?
Right.
So here say, hey, port 8080. And context means application names. Generally, I am not given any application name, just see blank, right? And just test here. What say? Uh, Not page. Uh, Users. I'm users. Why not say? Let me again restart. It should show the complete documentation. I think this. They say ki swagger page.html. It should work. Why not works? It's so strange. It should works. Why not working? So strange. As per this document, I am not nothing to. I already configuration. Let me stop and just refresh them. Might be this required. I think no. This is the what I'm saying. This documentation say कि whenever you add this dependency, add this dependency, add this dependency, and after that you automatically get this kind of URL. Look like I'm just showing where is the somehow where is so strength it was demos. Look like this output I want, right? Here. Here all the URL get push what I find, right?
Right.
This is the objective. So that user can easily figure out, hey, this is my postman and test from here. Here you can test from the get API, post API, delete API, all API.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
So this is very simple annotation. Why not works?
That's very easy and
Yeah,
user friendly.
user
Looks
friendly. It should works. Okay, let me start. It should works as per the my understanding because I
right.
tested it. So it's working. Let me check. But you can also explore. This is the very simple. Means you can say easily you don't need to remember anything from the URL perspective. They help us to URL, and even from the browser you can test it.
Right, right.
Let's test it. It's working, right?
Oh, it's working.
Right? Notice I have
Yeah,
only two endpoint, get
yeah,
and
right,
post.
right.
So this is the nowadays lots of company using this, right? Right?
Oh, lots of company using this.
It is Swagger because this help us to complete REST API documentation for you. Even here, I
Okay,
want to test get user. Just click here and just say try out, and I'm going to test execute, and I'm getting it all record. No record I'm getting because no database, right?
right, right.
And I want to go to post endpoint. I just say hey post endpoint. Notice try out. I am give to this say notice they complete give you the request. This is my personal
Oh,
user detail and this is the address detail.
see the address, the relationship.
Already created. Here just I'm don't bypass address automatic generated and here I say name. It's John,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
And email ID John at the rate gmail.com, right? And
yeah,
city name, uh, what city name? Toronto
yeah,
and Canada, right?
yeah.
In this way, you can pass. So notice I am passing just giving one request, user request. And our objective, this go to the save in my user detail table and this go to the save in my address table, right?
Right.
And let's test. So notice 200 response, okay, right? We are getting a response here. Okay.
Right.
And let's check my get API. Before running I get API, I'm not getting any data, right? Now I again get them. Notice I'm getting data, right?
Right. Okay, it's working. It's working.
So notice from this Swagger UI, you can test all get endpoint, post endpoint, update endpoint, delete endpoint, every endpoints. There is no
That's
need to
really,
go to the postman. But postman is also
oh,
good. But here, some
it's
better.
much
They give
better.
complete documentation. Your user controller, these are two endpoint, right?
It's much better than Postman. It's easier.
Yes. Similarly, let's say I'm going to create one more. Uh, Smith, okay?
Right.
And Smith have a Smith, okay? They are also living the same city, right?
Right.
Same city. Just say they created some error, right? Okay, okay. They because you say we have to
You, Oh, unique, unique.
Uniqueness, yes, right. The
Okay,
duplicate key. Toronto already exists in the right.
that's why it doesn't work. Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
internal problem, right? So they means our unique key also work fine, right?
yeah.
Somewhere,
It's what
if you
it's
apply
working.
unique key, they are ensuring you are passing the different city name, okay, a different something. So in this way, you can let's say change it. So here you can change your let's change the name, right? Anything, okay?
Right, right,
And it's works, right? Nice work, fine. And you can
right,
even you can test from the get API, then you can test the to record, right? Here you can
right.
set it, and here you can test. You notice here the to record, right?
Two response. Yeah.
Yeah. So today, in this way, notice I am not going to create any address save something. Automatic save happen, and let's go to the database. Okay. So use first use mapping. Okay, mappings database, right? And so tables, and these are tables. Select star from user, right?
User, yeah.
So we are getting two users. And notice here in the address table have only ID 1 and 3, right? So what are the 1, 3? Address ID. Select select star from address. Okay. Notice 1 means this Toronto. 3 means this, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay,
So
okay,
this is
yeah,
a
yeah.
relationship you maintain here, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And even let's create one more. A good option, Swagger, maintain your last whatever you did. So just modify something. Let's keep uh, Anis.
So ID is matching on the board table, same
Yes,
number.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay,
Yeah.
and just test and notice uh, it's done and test the database and notice one new address created. The address
Oh, yeah,
table
yeah.
notice automatic created. I'm not creating any address rest endpoint, right?
Right, right.
And I'm not I'm saving any address. I'm just saving user because in user I means a relationship with the address, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in this way, let's just perform the one more endpoint delete. Okay. So one thing for today, it's clear how you can uh, expose your REST API documentation using the Swagger UI. Just need this one annotation, right, in your application.
This notation, dependency.
Dependency, you have to add just one dependency, and now your application support the standard REST API documentation via Swagger, right?
Okay,
And let's so that I can add one more delete. You can say I can change the delete endpoint. Delete, right?
right,
Delete, delete mapping, and here say, hey, whatever the user slash users, and give me the ID, right? User
right.
slash, and this is the ID. And here say public void
Void,
delete
delete.
delete, and here say I need a long ID. Okay,
Mm,
and I say hey repository dot delete my delete by ID. Okay,
right.
but how can I get path ID? ID say hey uh,
From
path
ID
variable.
from path variable.
This is the big careful, right?
Mm,
Path variable I receive and just start them. So here are two options. Notice here. Here one is the stop and other is start. Here we have one option stop and restart again. Both work done, right?
okay,
So
okay.
let's do both, right? So you can
Right,
use both button. This is mean just stop. This is means restart, right?
right.
Just again stop and then restart application. So today I'll also good remember कि now you can basically test all your API from the Swagger UI, right? And
Right.
good thing Swagger is work for the two purpose. One for testing your REST API. Second for just documenting all your developed REST endpoint, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Just go here and notice previously two endpoint. Just refresh them. And now I'm getting three endpoint. Notice,
Right.
and let's check the still working. Uh, Whenever you click here, you have to click the try out button, right? Try out, and then this execute button enable, right?
Right.
Try out. Oh, this is the complete. Let's say I want to delete the ID number three, right? ID number three,
ID3.
I'm going to delete. Let's check delete
Right.
operation work or not. So just minimize here and go to the delete user. Notice here, ID field they are asking, right? The
Right.
by default UI, Swagger UI give the this text button. Just type ID, right? Right? I know
Right.
ID should be three, right? Three. And just delete.
Exactly.
It is 200 deleted. And again, let's check user, all user, right? Execute them. And notice ID
Oh,
1
it's
and 4.
gone.
3 is the deleted. Let's check
It's
the
gone.
database.
Yeah.
User. Notice 3 is the deleted. Let's check the address. Notice address also deleted. Why
Right.
both
Right.
both deleted? Because we given the cascade operation all. Means this is the user table, this is address table. This is the address table, this is the user table, right? I say
Right.
ki user say add, so here also added record, right? Here say
Right.
delete, here also deleted.
See, I also noticed that in the user table,
Hmm.
they put a extra column called address ID, even
Address
though
ID.
we
This is
put
the relationship. This is
it's
the
a
relationship.
relationship.
Why?
Yeah.
Because in your Java, you can make a composition relationship. User have a address, right?
Right.
Notice here in this user table, this is the my where is the user?
Yeah.
This is the user. Here name, email, and you added the one composition has a relationship with the address, right?
Right.
So from this address, they can create this column address underscore ID, right?
Right.
And notice here address is another number. Notice not a number. It's an object, but they are storing some number, primary key of address table.
Right.
Address table
Mhm.
one, this is the one, right? This is the four, this is the
Right.
four, right? This
Yeah.
is the one, this is the one.
Yeah.
So this is the one to one mapping between the your table.
Right.
So notice here, I think it's good. Even you not needed this repository because by default you are using the save from itself here internally, right?
Right.
So till now what we did, we create one address table, one will create a user table, make a relationship using the composition, has a relationship, and done. And after that say, hey, say this is a repository, and here I can develop my REST API. REST API maybe all, find all, get all, update, delete, put, everything you can do, right? And notice these all user URL documentation now available from your Swagger, right?
Right.
Even you can test. This is a very now you even don't need any third party postman, curl, all able to. The Swagger is the one more way to test your REST API, right?
Right.
But this is the Swagger is the two things. One is the testing your REST API plus the documentation. And this is known as a Open API documentation tool, right?
Right. Oh, it's not Swagger is a tools, but it's what is Open API?
Just Swagger Open API is the concept that implemented by the Swagger to just
Mm.
documentation of the REST endpoints.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Here they are doing the documentation. This is the user is a one endpoint, that is the get endpoint. User is the one endpoint, that is the post endpoint. User slash ID is the one endpoint, that is the delete endpoint, right? They are
Right.
clearly giving the documentation, right?
Right.
What this user input need? This input user need the ID, right? Give the
Right.
needed ID. Similarly, what this endpoint put need and input, they say, hey, push need this request body, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this complete documentation created from your code itself. Whatever the I am code written here. From this request helper, they know ki I have to create the body. From this request, they know ki I am
Right.
creating the path variable, right?
Right.
So just quick minor one annotation you have to add in your code like this documentation, right? Dependency
Right.
and your microservice are now supported by the REST API documentation as well as.
Right.
It's very simple and sometimes some application required. Hey, some customer want to test your API. How I know what is your API URL? What kind of request they are required, right? What kind of
Right.
request your API expecting, right? How I know? You have to publish some documentation. Those
Right.
Swagger help us to publish the your REST API documentation.
Hmm. Right.
Clear?
Right. Clear.
So this is also good thing today we have to just remind me we have to test this from the different tool, right? So most
Right.
probably in my many applications we are using Swagger and most Postman is a very basic things and almost Postman is used everywhere. Each developer, each
Right.
person at least basically each tester also doing lots of testing is done from the Postman. Postman is a very good tools, right?
Right.
Mm.
Just give me one minute. Ajay bhai, 1 minute.
Mm. This is good option.
Yes, Ajay
Yeah.
bhai, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah. So I'm saying ki this REST API documentation, if you figure out in the down, there is a schema. And in this schema, you notice whatever the model we created, like a user and address, both are display here. Notice user have a ID field, name field, email, and address, right? Address is a
Right.
further object. Notice address
Oh
is the
yeah,
what?
that's
Address have a ID, address city, address have a country.
that's nice.
The
Yeah,
good
yeah.
option, they are complete REST API documentation. What your input required, what your output required, what the input contain details right here,
Yeah.
right? So notice if
Right.
you want to go user have this field, right? Same
Right.
this in the notice in the post endpoint, whenever say user they are creating for you, right?
Right. Right.
So this help us easy test your REST API.
Right.
So in case whatever the documentation you are going to create, a model going to create, they are showing in this schema detail, right? If you want to know schema detail, this is schema detail. The good documentation for the REST endpoints. So generally,
Right.
whenever you're building the microservice, in the microservice, if you are exposing some REST endpoint requires some documentation. Which tool are you going to use? This is the very simplest tool, Swagger nowadays, most popular you can say, tool for the REST API documentation. But
Right.
lots of
Right.
other tools. This is not only one tool for the REST API documentation, right?
But this is very popular, right? This
Most
one.
popular you can see here.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay. But
so
does
just yeah.
Swigger is always work on browser, or they actually have a software too?
No, this is I'm testing from browser, right?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, Postman is a software, right? It's an
Postman is a
engine.
software. Yes, somehow you have to download and test.
Oh,
Like
but
here,
this is but
Postman is an
Swagger.
application, you can say. I just download and test on my usual, right?
Yeah, but Swagger is like that.
Swagger is just a Java library.
Oh,
Java is
Java
a library,
library. Okay.
and it works on the browser and some let my Postman works, and from Postman you can test all these endpoints. Let's this is my get endpoint, all the user and test. So I am getting this my user detail, right?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is the work serving, right? You can even post means whatever you are testing from the Swagger, same you can do it from the Postman. This is nothing new, right?
Right, right.
Get endpoint, post endpoint, delete endpoint, all work. Here you have to just select which you want to delete, right?
Oh, yeah, 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 yes, yes.
Here you have to select. Here, Swagger just give the same flavor in the different row, right? And all URL mentioned, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is something more user friendly, right? You can say
Yes, I think you don't need to make more click. Like in Postman, you need to select everything,
yes,
and then you send.
yeah, right. So this is the you can test from Postman. Even you can go same API you can test from curl, right?
Yeah.
Just open the inner uh, even just copy paste and open uh, uh, git bash. Oh, why not open it? Git bash? Because curl is generally by default Linux based command. So we have to if your Linux machine, Mac machine directly curl command just install curl and runs. And but here you have to use the curl curl curl. Just oh spelling. What? CURL curl, right? So in this way, you can test the output and maybe a hyphen JQ pretty answer like in this way, right?
Oh, you can test it here as well.
So I can test from here as well. And curl also you can test all the endpoint. Curl you can test the get endpoint, put endpoint, update endpoint, delete endpoint. All you can test from curl. Curl in the you can say heavily use this testing. Basically, all the backend API testing tester. Basically, you want to automation test case. Generally, they are using the curl to test the automation. Curl is also most popular way to test the microservice REST API. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Because if we're going to write the automation, I have to run the 100 time for the different user the same point, right?
Right.
Different input. So automation test case in write the code using the curl or maybe the postman. Postman also support you can run the maybe JMeter, different tools using the different strategy to test your endpoint, right?
Right.
But curl is also most popular way to test REST endpoint, right?
Got it.
But lots of tools just you can familiar with anyone and other you can use it easily, right?
Right.
But most probably we have to build your microservice and some REST endpoint and later part of the testing tools come in the picture, right?
Right. That's the later part.
Yes.
The,
But until you are writing, but you have to test as well and like whatever is written it's working or not, right? For testing you have to take some help, some testing tools, right?
right. 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 Yeah.
So today I'm not going to develop all the endpoint. You can later you can do whatever you want. But our objective, whenever you want to make a relationship between the two object, maybe one to one, then you have to use the has a relationship, right? Has a
Has a, yeah.
relationship means user has a address, right?
Yeah.
And how you can inform your JPA using this annotation.
One to one. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. One to one means one user has one address.
Yes. So fix one user have a one address must. This is
Uh,
there you can add you can say hey this is the column not unique true this means it's not be blank you have to pass the value here you have to pass the value here say you cannot say create the truth users of the same name, right? So lots of
Right.
feature flag you can just explore and test, right? But today our objective, we have to learn how make a relationship between one table to another table via the Hager relationship,
Has a right, right,
not inheritance. I'm not using inheritance, using the Hager relationship, right?
right,
So let's do practice, and if any doubt, any questions, you can again discuss, right?
right, right.
For today, you have any doubt, any question in the code, there is no not any complex. Whatever you did, it's very simple. Just we have added one more complexity relationship. Before this is already you did, right?
Yeah, this one did.
Just added one more attribute. This is the address, and then this is the address detail, right?
Right, right,
Just nothing. And you already know okay, how to build this endpoint. Create, update, delete, right?
right.
So let's test. If you, any question for the
No,
day?
I'm good. I'm good today.
Okay, great. And let's explore one.
I think I can figure it out. Once I do that, it should be familiarity, more familiarity after
Yes,
I
yes.
test it.
Let's do practice. Test your API from Postman, from Swagger, from curl, from anywhere, right?
Mm.
That's good for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajay bhai. Thank you for the time.